What's up, everybody? My name is Dana Harris with Young Gurus Math Tutoring, and I'm back again to bring you some more math jewels. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to solve proportions. Now, there's different ways that we can solve proportions, and I'm going to try my best to cover as many as I can in this short amount of time. Let's go ahead and get into the examples. So, example number one, I'm going to have just a simple proportion. Now remember, a proportion is if I have a ratio that is equal to another ratio. And just for starters, you can write a ratio in three different ways. So I can write a ratio saying the words A to B. I can use a colon, A colon B, or I can write it as a fraction, A over B. Now remember, A and B can be any number. But those are the three ways that we write a ratio. Now, when we're talking about a proportion, we're actually going to use the fraction version of writing a ratio. And all it is we're going to set two ratios equal to each other. So the first example is I have 3/4 is equal to T over 5. All right. Now, we can ultimately we have to get this T by itself. And now if I have T over 5, remember a fraction bar represents division. So the opposite of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. So if I use the multiplication property of equality, which means I multiply by 5 on both sides, that'll get T by itself. So I'm going to put times 5 there, and I'm going to multiply by 5 here. All right. Now, this 5 and that 5, remember 5 divided by 5, or if I take T divided by 5 and then multiply it by 5, multiplication and division are inverse operations. So they'll cancel out, leaving me with just T on the right side. On the left side, remember 5 times 3/4, that's the same thing as saying 5 over 1 times 3 over 4. And whenever I multiply fractions, I have the numerator times the numerator. So 15 over 4 is equal to T. All right. Now I know I did a disappearing act outside the screen, but nevertheless, you see the mathematics. I don't want to be in the way of you learning this good stuff right about now. So notice I have 5 times 3 over 1 times 4, and that gives me 15 over 4. You can leave it as an improper fraction. All right. Example 2. Now, example 2 is if I have, let's say I have 3/4 is equal to M over 22. All right. And in this case, we can use cross products. This is a different version. And a cross product, please be mindful. It's not multiplying top to top, bottom to bottom. Cross products is multiplying diagonally. All right. So I'm going to take this numerator times that denominator, and this denominator times that numerator. So in actuality, what I have is 3 times 22 is equal to 4 times M. All right. Now, this gives me 66 is equal to 4 times M, and I need to get M by itself. So if I divide by 4 on both sides, divide by 4 there, divide by 4 there, and this is going to give me my solution. Now remember, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times any number is that number. In this case, that number is M. And when I have 66 divided by 4, we can actually keep it as an improper fraction. Both of these are divisible by 2. So that gives me 33 over 2 as my solution. Okay, 33 over 2. And it is okay to keep that as an improper fraction. Now, there's another type of ratio or proportion that we want to solve, and this one is slightly different. So let's get rid of one of these. Let's say we have a little more going on in these. All right, so for example, what if I have B plus 4 over 5 is equal to 7 over 4. All right, now in this case, I'm still going to use a cross product. All right, so remember, numerator times denominator, denominator times numerator. We're multiplying diagonally. All right, so I have b plus 4. I'm going to put that in parentheses, times 4, and I'm going to make that equal to 5 times 7. All right, now on this case, I need to use the distributive property. And remember, with the distributive property, that 4 can be on the left side of the parentheses or the right side of the parentheses. It doesn't matter. You're still going to distribute it the same way. So 4 times b is 4b plus 4 times 4, which is 16. 5 times 7 equals 35. All right, remember our ultimate goal is to get the variable by itself. So I need to take this plus 16. The opposite of adding 16 to anything is subtracting 16. So I'm going to say minus 16 there. Those cancel. I bring down my 4b equals 35 minus 16 is going to be about 19. All right, and then divide by 4 on both sides. B equals 19 over 4. Okay, so same process, just a little bit different. Now this last one I'm going to do, and there's several different ones that we can do. Example 4, let's say if I have p plus 2 over 5, and we set that equal to 2p minus 11 over 7. Still using the same process, just a different problem. We're going to cross multiply in the shape of an x. So numerator, so p plus 2 times 7 is equal to 5 times 2p minus 11. Now remember, once again, you can move this 5 to the right side of the parentheses if you want, and you can move this 7 to the left side of the parentheses if you want. Most people like them on the left side, but it doesn't matter. You're still going to distribute the same way. All right, so boom, boom. So I get 7p, because p times 7, plus 2 times 7, which is 14. And then 5 times 2p gives me 10p, minus 5 times 11 is 55. One of the biggest mistakes people make with using the distributive property is not multiplying the number on the outside by both terms inside the parentheses. Okay, so now we just need to get the p terms on the left side or the right side. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. I like my variables on the left. And then we get the constants on the right by using inverse operations. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the 10p to the left side. So I'm going to subtract 10p from both sides. Notice I'm lining up my like terms. So this gives me negative 3p plus 14 is equal to, I'm just going to bring down my negative 55 because those canceled out. And then now I'm going to take this plus 14 to the right side by subtracting it. The opposite of adding 14 is subtracting 14. All right, so I have negative 3p is equal to negative 69, and then I want to get p by itself, so I divide by negative 3, or as I like to say, negative tree. Divide by negative tree, and p, remember, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and that gives me p is equal to 20 tree, or 23 for the proper folks. All right, now that is how you solve a proportion. There's different types of proportions that you may see, but remember, you can use multiplying the cross products, and when we multiply those cross products, it just becomes a regular multi-step equation or a two-step equation and whatnot. Remember, Young Guru's Math Tutoring, I've got the solution to your math problems, even when I get tongue-tied.